Hello, what's this week's Devil in the Detail podcast? I'm Rob Paxson, and we're here talking all things Salford Red Devils. We've got two special guests on the show this week. We're joined by Heather Robinson and Craig Fisher, who is the head of Equality and Diversity at the club. Hello, both. Welcome to the show, Craig. Looking forward to talking all things Salford.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it's going to be good fun. This Heather talking all things about the things you do at the club, the Learning Disability Rugby and all the other strands involved.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. So what we'll do, we'll start with you, Craig, and you can tell us how you got into rugby league in this format?
Yeah, so I just basically started off as a community rugby league coach, looking to get paid working professional rugby league. I did some volunteer roles as a coach with Wigan, Warrington, and then Salford, helping Danny Barton out on the Rising Stars camps for the foundation. I got my first paid gig as a coach over at Wakefield Trinity. I did that for about 3 or 4 years, but travelling up and down the M62 from Wigan every day got a bit onerous towards the end. Part of my job at Wakefield was setting up the disability strands there, so learning disability, physical disability, which both absolutely rip-roaring successes. Had a little bit of work with the women and girls pathways, and then I launched the wheelchair team at Wakey before I left, and I basically got headhunted by Neil Blackburn at the Salford Red Devils Foundation, who wanted me to come in and do pretty much what I did at Wakey, but at Salford. So the chance to be a bit closer to home and also work with guys that, you know, I had a lot of time for and a lot of admiration for, guys like Neil and Danny. I just jumped at the chance of going back and helping the guys out at Salford.
Yeah, obviously, like you said, if you started it all at Wakefield, how big of a job was it to get to Wakefield where they are now, and how big of a job is it you think it'll be to get us to there too?
It's tough. I think the various strands kind of dictate how difficult it's going to be. I mean, learning disability rugby league's quite an easy sell, I always thought, and setting that up was always easy. You can sell it really well to you know, the SEN guys and the SEN schools and stuff like that. So your buy-in's pretty easy. But then when you get to like PDRL, you know, the physical disability side of things, it's a niche sport. It's really niche. So trying to recruit for that is really tough. And then trying to convince people with physical disabilities that they can actually play regardless of the disability is another hurdle you've got to try and get over. But I was fortunate at Wakefield in the respect that I had a team of really enthusiastic and dedicated volunteers as well. So once we finally got the teams up and running, it was more a matter of just overseeing the programs and letting the volunteers coach and manage the program. And I just kind of oversaw it and just basically pandered to them and gave them what they wanted when they needed it. And I just took care of all the boring stuff. So I let the volunteers just enjoy the fruits of my work, I suppose.
How did you get into it, Heather?
So I think I'm probably one of those people that Craig needed to persuade that I can play rugby. So I first decided that I couldn't play physical disability rugby league and decided that I wanted to play rugby league. So I went to play wheelchair at Wigan, which I've been doing now for a few months, and I've got my first game on Saturday, which I'm quite excited about. And then one of my friends who plays physical disability at Wigan told me to just, you know, give it a go. And then Salford were advertising. So I thought, well, if nothing else, I'll, you know, be throwing a ball around and, you know, it'll be okay. So I went down and Craig was kind of like, no, if you want to put on a shirt, you can go and play. And so I thought, okay, well, we'll try it. It's fine. And then I kind of just bought into what Craig was doing really at Salford, and thought that it was a really interesting thing. And the way he explained to me about the LD side of it was that, you know, there's these guys who have never really had that experience of being within a team sport, or being able to even kind of choose who they spend time with outside of a school environment, and that was really important to me. And so I kind of attached myself to Craig and told him I wanted to come down and help, and I don't think he's been able to get rid of me since. So but with the PD side of it, I'm still not convinced I can actually play, so I am gonna give it a try, and whatever comes of it comes of it.
I suppose it's experience as getting involved. That's the first step, really, Heather, isn't it? Taking that first step and seeing if you can sort of take all the things that come with playing rugby.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wasn't disabled from birth, so I think there's a lot of people who go into the PD side of it who are maybe disabled a little bit later in life. So we get a lot of veterans, a lot of people who have kind of acquired their disability, so I fall into that category. So I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 17, and that's when I became disabled. So my only experience of kind of playing rugby was prior to that. And obviously, as a 15, 16-year-old girl, there wasn't really that many opportunities to play rugby back then, which is obviously changing now due to the great work that, Salford and other clubs are doing. But I kind of fell into this category where I wasn't disabled enough for many sports, but then I was too disabled for other sports. So I just think the PD comes and fits into that bracket really well. And gives people who kind of maybe aren't wheelchair users, but do have a physical disability, an opportunity to play a team sport that they may not otherwise have had.
Obviously, we talk about the physical disability rugby league part. It does, obviously, with the Paralympics, there's different categories, isn't there, for how sort of disabled a person is. Is it the same in rugby league, or is it just everyone who wants to get involved can play?
Yeah, so we do have, I think that's a fairly recent thing that's come about, the categorising people based on kind of level of their disability, where their disability is, which limbs impacted, things like that. There's, quite strict kind of rules, especially with the World Cup coming up now. And so it's kind of different to the way it works in the league, to the way that it works internationally. And so, it's not quite as complex as like the Paralympics with their, many classifications, but there definitely is. And I know Craig was involved in one of the classification days that they had down in Wales. Was it quite recently?
Yeah, we've had a classification days up since half my team went up to Halifax for it. So they travelled from Port Talbot over to Halifax to be classified, but recently I've just been holding like training sessions just for the international team. So
yeah, Craig, you talked about the sort of the difficulties in sort of getting sort of the players involved in the process. Obviously, is it through schools or is it through groups? How do you sort of immediately get that link?
I mean, in terms of the LD, the learning disability side of things, it was a slow burner, I'll admit, from its inception back in August. I had the same lad just turning up every week and couldn't get rid of him. And he just kept on turning up, and he kept on turning up every week and joining in our walking rugby league program that John Blackburn runs, which is brilliant. And we just kept him interested until more people arrived. And I went and did a bit of delivery inside Upward and Chatsworth High School. And we managed to acquire a couple of players from there, and then a bit of word spread, really. And Community Integrated Care, that's the principal sponsor of the Learning Disabilities Super League, kind of referred a service to us, Griffin Lodge over in Cheadle, and quite a lot of their service users now come to our sessions and play for our team. So it kind of, like I say, it was a slow burner to begin with, but then within like about 2 or 3 weeks, it was like you went from 4 to 20 turning up at training sessions. So it's really good that happened, and obviously we're doing the right things myself and Heather at training sessions because they seem to be coming back every week. So, and since the launch of the team, and obviously we played at Wakefield the other day, we've had a few more expressions of interest come in. So it's going to grow. I'm confident of that. So yeah, it's really good in terms of PD. I mean, I've managed to wangle in a couple of me players from South Wales to come and play for Salford. And then obviously people have seen advertisements from the foundation asking for players. So we have picked up a couple of players that way as well. And then Charlotte Kershaw, who's been helping me out with the PD setup, she's been sending people from her service, which Mind to Muscle, which deals with people with neurological conditions, and they've been signposted to our group and they've been enjoying the sessions. So it's building slowly but surely, but we could do with more and more people coming in.
Yeah, I suppose, Craig, it's important. Obviously, there's word of mouth. There's links. My son's sort of artistic, so there is schools in the area that obviously, if you can connect with it and they buy into it, can provide players who might want to play.
Absolutely, 110%. Yeah, Oakwood are really behind the programme, and Chatsworth as well, because obviously we've got a couple of their students that come and play for us. And that's great, and they are really behind it. And obviously, I also, because I work for the foundation, my central base is the college, so I deliver every Wednesday. I deliver a rugby league session to our SEND group there. We usually get about 20 or so kids just accessing the sessions, which is really good to see. And then I've started to signpost them towards our Tuesday night sessions as well, which has been brilliant. So they've been turning up, and like I say, it started off as a bit of a slow burner, but we've got them coming in numbers now. It's great to see.
Yeah, like you said on Sunday, Heather, the Learning Disability team played at Wakefield. How exciting was that for you and the team?
I think I was probably the most excited on that bus. I don't think I shut up all the way to Wakefield, and poor Craig, I had to sit next to him all the way there, but the guys were absolutely buzzing the whole way there, and the parents were telling us that they not stop talking about it. They were telling their teachers that they were playing, and they were so excited. And then I was sat with them like throughout the first half of the game, and they were just all ready. They were sat there in their shirts. They were like, they kept asking me, when they were going on, and every time like something stopped in the game, they'd stand up because they wanted to get on the pitch and they wanted to go down. And then when they finally got on the pitch, they were just the most excited people ever that I'd ever seen, and they loved that game. And I think, as you saw, we had a few of the Wakefield players play for us. They wouldn't wear Salford shirts, but they still, played as though they were Salford players. And everyone just celebrated everyone's achievement on that day. And then to hear the Salford fans cheering for them, and the Wakefield fans cheering for them, they were so happy. And equally, some of the parents who never thought that they'd get to see their kids doing things like that were so happy and were texting us after it, and all the way home on the bus. It's just those experiences that they never think that they're going to get, that is so important for them. And to spend time at a rugby game with their peers, and just to do that, you think is a normal activity, but for them it's not necessarily something that they get the opportunity to do all the time. And they absolutely loved it. They had the photos taken. People were like shaking their hands and giving them high fives. And we had our first disability try scored by one of the players, Ben, who was just absolutely buzzing. And he's not necessarily someone that speaks a lot to you, and he's normally very, very quiet, but all the way home he was talking, and you just couldn't shut him up, the whole drive home. So it was so worth it.
Yeah, it gives them a lift, doesn't it? Obviously, and that's what I think you're in it for the the joy it brings them.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and I don't think I fully understood that until I saw that on at Wakefield, and I don't think I kind of fully got it. And then that, for how everyone reacted to them and how they reacted to other people, just really kind of blew my mind. And it was just such an amazing experience for me to see how happy they were, and how they felt as though they were behaving in a completely normal manner and doing things that every 17-year-old kid does, was just the best feeling.
Yeah, my son's the same. Not about rugby, but other things. And you can see his face light up, and he just wants to sort of get involved. And as a parent, it kind of makes your heart kind of like beat a little bit more for him.
Yeah, I completely got. Obviously, I'm not their parent, and I'm
No.
but it was just so great just seeing them so happy, and seeing I don't know if you saw one of the lads, Jamie, who ran like the whole length of the pitch, and scored, I think he scored maybe 2 or 3 tries, but you couldn't have stopped him running. I think that if there hadn't have been a wall there, he'd have been over and into the fans at some point, and he was so happy about that. And his dad said that they couldn't shut him up either when they got him home. So to have them feel that passionately about something, and that makes them that happy is amazing.
Yeah, it's like you say, because as a parent of an autistic child, it's kind of like when you get that sort of access and people invest in them, it means the world. So obviously I just want to kind of say, thanks for what you do. Obviously you're not doing it for my child, but you're doing it for someone else's child, so it means the world, really.
I mean, from my side, it makes me happy as well. So I want to do it because I see the pleasure that they get out of it. But then it's probably, I think probably Sunday was one of the best days I've had in a very, very long time. I was probably the happiest I've been in a very ages. And on a Tuesday night, I think that is probably one of the best nights of my week, and I look forward to doing that. It's not a chore by any stretch of the imagination. It is an amazing session.
Yeah, there's more good times to come, Craig. There's festivals organised throughout the season, Magic Weekend as well. It's a great time, for the club and the sport.
Yeah, massive. Like I say, we kick off our festivals on Sunday in Warrington at Vicky Park, which will be massive. 22 teams. I think it's 16 different foundations. So that's going to be a fun day, had by all. And then obviously the big sell for my players, what they're all buzzing for is St James's Park, Newcastle. 50,000 fans or so, and getting to be a part of that experience as well is going to be huge for them. I mean, I've been a rugby league fan for more years than I care to mention, but I've never actually been to a Magic Weekend, so this is going to be my first opportunity to go to a Magic Weekend and actually, taking the atmosphere, but even better yet, I'll be taking it in and coaching me mob of merry men. So yeah, it should be a good one.
What age do you take them from, Heather?
So we welcome. It's kind of any age really that's welcome. So it's the same across all of the Disability Rugby League. We under 18s are very welcome to join us, and anyone, and they don't need any experience playing rugby league or have even been to a game or anything like that. It's about having fun and spending that time outdoors with your friends, really, rather than the actual rugby league part of it.
I think might bring my son down then. You say Tuesday? Is it Eccles College?
Tuesday.
Tuesday 7 till 8. Eccles College.
Sorry.
Tuesday 7 till 8 Eccles College.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think I might bring him down to see what. I took him to Langwithy Reds once, and they were okay with him, really. But obviously, it was with mainstream kids, and he, there is a difference, unfortunately. But like I said, now this has come along, it might be worth bringing him down and see what he can do, and what magic you can produce, Heather, with him.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely bring him down. We're on the AstroTurf at the back. So just, bring them along if you want to come along on Sunday as well and just, watch what's going on and, meet us. That's absolutely fine too. So yeah, just let us know.
Cool. So to give us a little bit of a rundown on the rules, Heather, what's the sort of the basics that we need to know?
So the first thing you need to know about the learning disability side of it is that it's non-competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So we do play games, obviously, and we score tries in the same way and all that kind of good stuff. But we don't kind of have a league in the same way that you might expect in kind of a standard Super League. And it's all about having fun and playing that game, and it's really, everyone is so supportive of each other. So you might have noticed in the game at the weekend, the other team might let someone through or might support someone to get to a point. It's very much based on kind of the tag rugby, so that the more of the touch rugby. So you will see the guys wearing the tag belts, so they have to wear they have the 2 tags on the tag belts. So basically, when they're tagged, they take up a tag and they shout tag, and then they hand back the tag to the person, and then they will play the ball. Play the ball is, you can either play the ball as we know it in the standard game, or they don't need to make contact with the ball to play the ball. One of the biggest rules probably that you might notice is that if there is a forward pass or is a knock on, it just goes back to the team that either knocked on or did a forward pass. It wouldn't be handed over or a penalty or anything like that, but it would count as one of the tackles. So that is probably one of the other ones. I'm trying to think what other rules you would want to know about. We are allowed to have so within the team, we are allowed to have 2 facilitators who are on the field at a time. So they are probably they are there not to kind of take over the game, but they're there to kind of make sure that the game keeps moving and keeps running. But primarily it is kind of there for the guys with the learning disabilities and associated conditions to be able to have that experience on the pitch. And so on the field at the weekend, you will see Keith, who's one of our players' dads. He was acting as a facilitator because he wanted to be on there to support his son, who he felt, may not cope in that environment without that, which, is absolutely fine. And that's what the facilitator is there for. We have unlimited substitutions going on, so we can kind of switch out as much or as little as we need to. Craig, anything I've missed there?
The only thing I can think of, there's no kicking. There's no kicking involved. It's 6 tackles, and like I say, you just rip a tag off and you're tackled. That's it in a nutshell, really. It's quite standard, but we get the best results from it in terms of player experience.
Yeah, I did read about that facilitator's role, and I thought it was great. Obviously, it keeps the game going, doesn't it, Craig? And I think it's a key role, really. Like Heather said, obviously there's people on that field and need that support as well. So I think it's a great sort of an important role in the whole process, really.
Yeah, I mean, Keith, who's Ben's dad, he's our facilitator for Ben, and he just lives and breathes it now. He's really, really bought into what the LDSL is and what it does for his son. And Keith's role is probably as important as anyone else's on that pitch. And we'd probably be lost without the fella. He's done really well.
Yeah, and obviously we were trying to grow the physical disability rugby league as well. Heather, obviously we've got the learning disability rugby league going. Hopefully the physical disability rugby league can grow as well.
Yeah, completely agree. For that, I think, as Craig said before, it's a very niche kind of area. So we're kind of looking for players who have a physical disability, but still want to be able to play rugby. Might still be able to take tackles. Because in physical disability rugby league, we have players who can't take tackles. We have players who can take tackles. So if you're under 18, you're automatically precluded from taking a tackle. If you're female, you can't be tackled as well. And then you wear red shorts to kind of denote that you can't be tackled. So it is kind of very specific, almost things that we're kind of looking for. But, we know that there are people out there who want to play rugby league and who, may have sight difficulties or some hearing loss, or they may have other disabilities that that they can still play rugby league. And I think one of the most famous ones we're seeing at the moment is the Warrington Wolves team, and they've got people on their team who have got limb differences, and they're still able to play the game, and they're still able to get tackled. And there's some people who have kind of long-term different medical conditions which still qualify them. And again, on the physical disability team, we are permitted to have able-bodied players on the field. So the one thing I'd say about that is, if you're not sure and you don't know whether you'd qualify, just get in touch with Craig and speak to him and see what he says. And if you don't necessarily qualify, you might want to come down and still have a game with us and play as able-bodied in the future.
What other clubs are involved in this, Craig?
In terms of the PDRL, well, obviously you've got Warrington, which is massive. We've got the Wigan Warriors, Leeds Rhinos have got a PDRL side, Castleford Tigers have got one, Wakefield Trinity, obviously. They did try and sort one out in North Wales with North Wales Crusaders, but I think they're trying to restart that. Trying to think of others that were involved in it. Sure, Newcastle Thunder tried to sort one out. I know St Helens haven't got one yet, and obviously Salford Red Devils are going to have one. So that's good.
You see, it's going to grow and grow. This obviously. How big of a timescale are you looking at to see how far this can grow? Is it short term, 12 months, or do you think in 5 years' time it will be every club will get one?
I'd like to think within the next 5 years. I think the World Cup is going to play a big part in the growth of the sport. Now, I think once we get the exposure off that, I would like to think and hope that within the next 5 years, every Super League foundation's got one. That's the hope anyway. It's definitely something I wanted to drive forward when I got to Salford, was the PDRL side of things. Obviously being heavily invested in it myself as a coach. It seemed that like the one variant I really wanted to get off the ground and make a success of.
I suppose that's the important thing, is it obviously making it a success. It's sorry successful now, really, but the sky's the limit, really, Heather, when you look at it.
Yeah, completely agree. I think it's important to be successful with the PDRL, and I think it's important for it to be successful at Salford, because it's such a massive thing to have that team. And like Craig mentioned, then not every Super League team has one at the moment. So it's really important that we can get this up and running, and we can, get started with it, and it, we can get it to at least the same level as the LD. Yeah.
Or other different strands as well, which we've talked about, sort of wheelchair rugby league. That'll be another opportunity for people in wheelchairs to get involved. Heather, obviously, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, so I think the reason that I play at Wigan is because we don't have one at Salford, and that was one of the first things that I said to Craig when I came to play at Salford with the PD team, is that, when are we going to get a wheelchair team? And we are hopefully it's going to be something that we move towards, and we do get that. Wheelchair is a really, really interesting facet of rugby league. Able-bodied people can play alongside non-able-bodied people, and I think that there's not many sports around the world where you can say that, where it doesn't kind of matter away what disability you have or don't have. You can still play together on the same court, and you're at the same level. Obviously there are rules about how many disabled people you can have playing at one time and how many able-bodied people, and then they make allowances for certain disabilities and impairment. I think that you don't get many team sports where it doesn't kind of matter in a way whether you are disabled or not disabled.
Yeah. With the wheelchair rugby league, I watched, is it England and France, I think, and I tell you now, they don't mess about. It was serious contact.
It's an amazing sport. My mum won't come and watch.
No,
she's refused point blank to do it. But it's brilliant. It's probably one of the most fun things, and I'd say to anyone to come down and give it a go. Once we get that set up at Salford, give that a try, because it is amazing fun. Even if you don't intend to carry it on and play with the team, it is something that is definitely worthwhile doing.
Yeah, Craig, and it's important. Obviously, linking up to the sort of the community, it gives people in the community sort of something to drive towards, and it's really important. Obviously, the people of Salford who are interested in this get involved.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the reason why I wanted to get involved and drive every single strand of rugby league there is to the community, because I want, speaking to Paul King when we launched the women's team, he said, this is a community team, this is a community club, and I want the community to buy into everything. And I was well on board with that, and I knew when I launched the women's team, when I launched Learning Disability, when I launched PD, I wanted it to be for the community of Salford to reach out to, because whatever the community wants, there is something there for them, whether it be the first team or it would be the women's team, wheelchair, physical disability, learning disability, walking rugby league. There's something there for everyone, and it's so easy to access. I just don't think people know how to access it. Contact me at the foundation, or contact the foundation, and we'll point you in the right direction. It's there for you to access.
Yeah, talking about the ladies team, they've started off very, very well. I think they're unbeaten. Oh, no, they lost to Wigan, didn't they? But they've been playing some fantastic sort of rugby. The people on the terrace are behind them. It's a fantastic thing. This
massive, yeah. I mean, when I got to Salford and spoke to Neil Blackburn about it, the vision was very much like the club want a women's team. We at the foundation are going to drive it, and we need you to back it up. And I went, yeah, no problem. I mean, I've had a lot of help along the way from the foundation. Neil's been a great help, and then I've had Sam Bardsley from the foundation, Marcel at the club. She's been absolutely brilliant in helping get this set up, and then to get coming to work one day, like literally we launched the team on minutes after the Challenge Cup final, the grand final, and going to work 24 hours later to 70 expressions of interest saying that we want to come and play for this team. I was just absolutely blown away by it. And then obviously we got the squad in place, and it's been a whirlwind, and for the right reasons as well. I think the girls deserve every bit of attention that they're getting. But the good thing, the thing that worried me, but the thing that's not worrying me now is for all that attention that they're getting and all that media hype, they're backing it up on the pitch.
Yeah.
And my God, they're backing it up, which is absolutely brilliant. So I've no complaints. I'm very, very proud of that. That variant taking off as well as it has done. And obviously, there's a plan in place to get a girls' pathway and a tie-in with the development. So we're trying to run a dual development academy from the college. So we're running a boys and girls section at the college. That'd be the vision as well. And that's looking more and more like a reality now because of the exposure, the impact that our girls have made.
Yeah, obviously us on the podcast and Salford City Radio Sports on will obviously promote them the best we can, promote all the things that the club do, and I think that's important. Obviously that the club continue to back you and promote you, because obviously it feeds into that interest and people out there who will watch the clips of the tries and the stories they put out and want to get involved.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I say, with the women's team. I mean, you can see all these highlight reels of how well they're doing. I mean, that referee cam.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of it at the time, but everyone else seems to jump right on board that. But that was a great way, just seeing first-hand pitch side view of the action going on, seeing what our girls can do. I mean, I'm surprised that referee could even keep up with Lucy McKeown.
Yeah.
But he did all right, didn't he? So yeah, I mean, it's just great, and being able to see these girls in action, it's just an exciting time for the club now. I think really exciting.
Where do you see it in 5 years' time?
The women's side,
Yeah, all of it.
I'd like, in an ideal world, me being a bit of a dreamer, I suppose. I'd like to see the women's team established in Super League. I'd like to have a women and a girls' pathway, and like I say, the development academy that ties in with the college. That'd be fantastic, because we want to provide girls with opportunities to potentially become the next Lucy McKeown, the next Louise Fellingham, the next Darcy Price. So we want them aspirational figures to kind of give hope to these girls that are coming through. That'd be the dream in terms of women's rugby league, especially. In terms of learning disability, just keep driving them numbers up, keep people coming to the sessions. I'm very confident once they exposed to them sessions, once they'll always come back. So just keep on building steadily and managing the expectations of the people that are coming to our sessions. And PDRL, get a team on the pitch and let's win a grand final.
No pressure, Heather.
I absolutely think we can do it. And the same with the wheelchair. I think we'll get the wheelchairs, and we'll get to that point as well, where we're beating the likes of the Wigan and the Leeds and all the teams that are out there, and getting to the grand final there, and providing players to go into the national teams as well, and providing players that are from Salford, and who have these amazing people in Salford to look up to, because I think that's one of the things that we didn't have for so long, is those the women. We didn't have those aspirational figures to look up to, and I fell out of love with rugby league for a little bit, because I couldn't see myself in anything that was going on within the club, or the players, or who was being represented. Whereas now we're going to get these people that they can look up to and go, well, no, actually, I want to be like them. And they see that person is there. And it's just so important for people to be able to see, as kids especially, to see who is out there, and who they can be like when they grow up.
Tell you, it's been an amazing chat. Really enjoyed it. and continue to let us know what's going on, and we'll obviously continue to let the world know.
Will do.
No problem.
Right. What we'll do now, we'll look at all the big news coming out of the club this week. So we're joined by Paul Whiteside, who's just managed to get on now after keeping the economy going this tonight. Paul, been a busy night for you?
Yeah, you know what it is, Rob. It's always busy and that, but no, I'm here now to have a chat with you, and sound like you're doing a good job tonight, mate, and good guests on, and good chat as always, pal.
Yeah, it's been fascinating, really, really insightful. Obviously, we've got a lot of news going on at the club as well. Need to remind people the AJ Bell is now cashless. So obviously home games, Heather, now you're going to have to use your card to pay for the refreshments.
Yeah, I didn't pay for my refreshments anyway.
No.
It's my dad's job.
I did.
So,
people do. It's obviously the. Do you think it makes much of a difference, sort of, Craig? Being cashless at the stadium now to supporters.
I think it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I'm a bit of a dinosaur. I don't personally like using the contactless system because I was afraid about spending way more than I should be doing. But I can see the logic behind it. Absolutely.
You're a bit like, aren't you, Paul? You like the cash in your hand.
Yeah, you should always have a bit of cash in your pocket, shouldn't you? You don't know when you're going to use it. But yeah, I suppose it's easier, isn't it, with contactless and that. But I suppose when you're using your card and that, you can sometimes it's dead easy to just tap your card. Like, you don't realise how much you spend. It's like when you go for a night out and that. Now it's all tapping in it. You don't realise until the next day how much you've actually spent. So yeah, I don't know. It moves with the times, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose that's what sport is. I suppose it needs to be. I suppose the facilities as well, Heather. It's about being great for everybody really, and I suppose cashless is one of them different strands you have to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do think that it can be a bit of an issue for people who don't want to use or can't use the cashless options. So I do think it does exclude some people from purchasing things. I kind of don't want to say that it's one section of society, but especially like some older people might not feel comfortable with that kind of thing, or certainly kind of I was brought up with don't use your card below a certain amount, so it feels strange to do contactless for your drink, or so I do think it does feel a little bit awkward, and it also kind of sometimes takes away from some of the charity things that we're trying to do. So people used to go around with buckets and stuff like that. You're not going to have that change in your pocket necessarily anymore to buy the raffle tickets or put into the collection tins. So I do think it impacts there as well. So I don't necessarily think it's the best move to have a completely cashless stadium, but I do get why they've done it.
Yeah, I'll have to see how it plays out. Obviously, I think the next bank holiday Monday, I think it's next home game, so we'll see what happens there. Next bit of news: Salford Devils ladies are through to the next round of the League Cup. They will face Illingworth. Craig, it'd be a tough contest, that.
Yeah, I think getting into the business end of things now in this cup competition, there's going to be no easy wins. I think the girls are very, very much aware of that as well now. You can't really take anything for granted. I think sticking 80 points on these lot might not be as easy as everyone thinks. So I think me personally, I'm quietly confident the girls can get the job done. But I'm sure they're under no illusions that it's going to be a tough ask. Illingworth are in the quarterfinals for a reason, so they must be a decent side.
Yeah, they were due to play Alton, but Alton, I think, beat Wakefield in the Challenge Cup last week. So obviously they couldn't find a fixture. So we just obviously took their place, which is fine, because obviously, I personally think after watching them against Featherstone on the mobile video referee camera, I think they were scared. I think they went all the way trying to beat Wakefield, so they didn't have to play us, Craig.
No comment. I know. We're doing everything we possibly can to keep that team grounded. So it's one game at a time. Each game as it comes. Just got to play what's in front of you. If we win by 8 or we win by 80, we've got to take every game very, very seriously. And I'm sure Chris Bates and Cole will be drumming that message home to the girls.
Yeah, obviously, Heather, the girl team is a massive success, and it'll inspire sort of ladies and girls all over the city and all over the world to hopefully get involved.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the things that has come out of this women's team for me is how good they are. And I think, there was probably a healthy dose of skepticism around it when we first announced we were doing it. And I think, one of the things that really stood out for me was, I think it was on your Twitter like a few weeks ago, and was it Paul Parkin that said that they were unreal? And I think for someone that's seen, I obviously don't know how old he is, but, that many teams over that many years play, but for him to still feel excited about, that level of competition and, a female competition, they must be doing something absolutely right on that field. And, I'm really excited that we've now got a women's team and we've got people that can be looked up to. And we did see other Super League teams having women's teams, and we saw your Amy Hardcastles and all those other players coming out of St Helens. So for us at Salford to have that, and for even the girls and boys and everyone at Salford to have those people to look up to is immense.
Yeah, it's amazing. Obviously, there is a sort of demand to know sort of what's going on. Our top 3 sort of match reports and previews have been for the ladies, which is amazing, really, Paul. And us fans have really got behind it, and we're looking forward to the success and the adventures to come.
Yeah, we certainly are. And I mean, seems a while ago now since that first game against Swinton. The momentum's just built, really, hasn't it? We've been talking about the results every week and the performances, and like you're saying there before, hit the nail on the head. The way you say, you just play what's in front of you. I think that's the way to do it. Now you've got to keep the girls grounded, haven't you? But this is just going to snowball, I think, and we've said it, haven't we, about the fixtures for next season. Great playing friendly games and cup games, but the business is going to be next season when you get into the championship and you're playing week in, week out for a goal to get promoted. So yeah, I think they're just going to keep taking each game as it comes and just keep building, and I think the wins will keep coming.
Yeah. Other news, AJ Bell ticket office times. A lot of people on Twitter asking about when it's open, when it's not. Mondays, it's open 1 p.m. till 8 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday is 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. Thursday is 1 p.m. till 8 p.m. and Friday is 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. Paul, so that gives us that's our public announcement for the ticket office this week.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I mean, I always forget when I go down for the tickets and that. But there's usually a friendly lad on the desk who normally sorts us out if you get there at the wrong time. But yeah, get down for your tickets. And I mean, the Warrington game on the Thursday is going to be pretty exciting. Going down for that one. The Easter's a great time for rugby league, isn't it? It's a festival of rugby league at Easter. I love it. I've been looking at the games on the television, and I'm glad I've got Good Friday off this year, so it's a bit to sit and watch the matches. So yeah, get down and get your tickets. It should be exciting.
Yeah. Other news, Rising Star campaign is in Altrincham on the 11th of April between 10 and 12 p.m. It's for Year 7, Year 8 and Year 9, Craig. I think they were in Bolton and was it Stockport this week? Obviously trying to find the next generation of players.
Yeah, and you know what? It's been a rip-roaring success as well. I mean, Kevin Rayner, who's kind of pushed this program out, has done an absolutely amazing job. And these development days are attracting some really big numbers. And Altringham's probably not an area that's a rugby league hotbed, is it, if you will? But me knowing Kev and the work that Kev can do, and the guys within the rugby league development side of things at the foundation, I'm sure they're going to have these kids converted to rugby league in no time.
Yeah, it's super exciting. Heather, and obviously, we talk about, finding the sort of the next generation who want to come and play rugby, and things like this, where the club are able to do that, and obviously other clubs have sort of similar things. But if we can, continue to do this in 3 or 5 years' time, we'll have the players to take us to that next level.
Yeah, and I think there's been a lot of talk, on Facebook about how other clubs have these pathways that we don't have, and why don't we have that? But we definitely do have that now, and we're definitely moving into a space where we have the youngsters coming through, and they're able to play for us as they move forward. I think it's important to get them as young as we can, because whatever sport you get to first is usually the one that you stick with for your life, and the team that you stick with forever. And Salford used to do amazing things back in the 90s with getting kids into the Willows and playing, and it's really good to see a lot of that coming back now.
Yeah, and obviously, two for old schools like me and you, Paul, it blows our mind on a regular basis how much the club are doing now.
It does. It does. I mean, for far too long we didn't do enough, really, did we? We sort of let things drift aside, and back in sort of the 90s and the late 80s when I first started going, I wouldn't say we did loads of things, but I was in junior reds the same as you was, and that's how you got hooked. You went to the Christmas parties, you met the players, and you got autographs and things like that. And these things seem to be coming back now, don't they? And getting children involved. I mean, how good was it the other week when we played Leeds and the East Stand was full of kids, and those kids just enjoyed themselves, and the noise they made, it generated a fantastic atmosphere. And that's brilliant that we've got this pathway and we're getting children involved. And I just think the club's been in the news for the right reasons this last few months. And we said it before, a few years ago, we was always a negative storyline behind the club, wasn't there? But at the moment, the positive energy that comes out is tremendous. I know that the men's team have had a few dodgy results, haven't they, the last few weeks? But the rest of the stories that are coming out at the moment have been great and been heartwarming. So more of it to come.
Yeah, other news, the club, we've got this link up with Ghana. We've sent the Ghanaian coaches some so we'll call it gear for them to help sort of train the players in Ghana. Craig, it's great. We've got this link up, and it's really exciting times.
Absolutely. I mean, global growth of the sport. I mean, you can't. Nothing better, really. Is there? No other clubs have tapped into clubs in different countries as well. But obviously, this partnership that we have with Ghana is really beginning to bear some fruit now. And I know there's talk of the coaches coming here and learning off our coaches, which is absolutely brilliant. And I think they'll do well to learn off our coaches as well. Because I've always seen coaching as being a bit of a sharing environment. So, if we can upskill coaches over there in the right way, I think the product you're going to get on the field over in Ghana is probably going to be a lot better than people give it actual credit for. So, yeah, absolutely brilliant. And long may it continue.
The Ghanaian coaches were in Kenya this week, getting some sort of advice and training. Heather, do you fancy a trip to Kenya as a sort of a 2-week swap?
That'd be lovely. I'd have a lovely time. I'd be well in for that. I'm not sure Craig wants to sit next to me on a flight that long though.
What do you reckon, Craig? You got a right to reply there.
I'm quite happy being at home. So, I spend very little time at home as it is with my job. So, anytime I get to spend it with the wife and the kids is a bonus for me.
So there's Paul King tapping away now. 2 tickets, Kenya tomorrow. Other news as well. Salford Red Devils supporters trust, Paul. They've got a quiz night on the 25th of April. Any good at quizzes?
Not bad rugby league questions, I suppose. A bit of music and that. The rest of it, no, I'm not really. Maybe a bit of geography. Ask me anything else now, I'm probably clueless. I probably wouldn't much gap in a pub quiz team, mate, to be honest with you.
Heather, what's your specialist subject?
Just general, I think. I'd love a pub quiz, but I'm a bit too competitive.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that.
Yeah. I get a bit angry.
Yeah, we'll get a bit angry if you don't win.
Exactly.
Oh, not that far. About you, Craig? What's your skill set when it comes to quizzes?
Do you know what? I'm pretty good on music.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got I'm not proud to say this, but anything that comes up about musicals, I can usually nail it because I grew up like watching musicals with my nan and granddad quite a lot. So anything to do with like musicals, I can usually get it right.
So if you're interested and you want to get down to the it's a Salford Roosters on the 25th of April, £5 per person or 25 quid if you've got 6 players in your team. You contact Nat on 07980 837056 and organise your side. And hopefully we'll might even try and get it down myself. Paul, do you reckon we could get a podcast quiz team down there? Do you reckon?
What day is it? Is it Monday that?
I think is it a Tuesday, 25th of April.
Yeah, we might be able to sort something out. With Parky be up for it as well. He's pretty knowledgeable, isn't he, Parky?
Parky was part of the.
I
think he won like some Super League quiz thing. So he's going to be the shark in our team.
Yeah, he's a clever fella on the quiet, isn't
he? He is, yeah. Yeah, it's Monday, 25th Monday.
We'll have to keep our eye out, mate. I'm sure we can sort something.
So, final bits of news. Paul, we'll start with yourself. You were on GMR co-commentating with Trevor. How was it? Excited?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's not called GMR anymore. It's Radio Manchester now. GMR takes me back to being a kid. Yeah, it was all right. I enjoyed it. You got to do a lot of concentrating and keep your eyes on the game and that. I mean, you can't start shouting for Salford and that, which is a bit disappointing. But I could see my dad. My dad was there with our imaging, so I could see them from where I was, and I enjoyed it. It was great because I met with Imogen after the game, and she was buzzing. She's 11 now, and this season she's really started to get into watching Salford. She had a picture took with Ryan Brierley, so we've got a little Salford fan now as well. I never thought I'd say that, having 2 girls. I always wanted a lad to take me to rugby, but one of my daughters now is really into it. So yeah, but Radio Manchester was good. I enjoyed it, and I'm up for doing all that sort of stuff. Anything you can do to help spread the name of Salford and talk the team up is a bonus, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're talking about our other strand of this show, the Sports Zone on Salford City Radio. Salford City Radio managed to reach their target of £20,000 to get the license fee for the next 5 years of broadcast. They've done fantastic for us, Paul, obviously with training and opportunities, and it's great that they've got the £20,000 to keep them going. Yeah,
it was a massive relief, wasn't it, when we heard that news? And like you said, yeah, they've done a lot of good work for us, and we've done bits of volunteering. But the stuff we've learned from there has been great, really. I mean, I've really missed going to the studio and meeting up. I mean, it's all right doing it on Skype and stuff like that, but you miss that sort of meeting up with people, don't you, and that camaraderie and that being in the studio. So hopefully we can get back to doing that sooner rather than later. But it was great news to see the station keep going.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Obviously, Craig, it's community radio, and obviously Salford Red Devils being part of that community. It's a two-way system. Obviously, the radio help the club. The club obviously, communicate with the radio, and obviously the community get behind it as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Anything that kind of links the community back to the club is always a good thing. And I think listening to the shows, listening to I remember listening to things like GMR and stuff like that when I was younger, and anything that can kind of link and build that fan base up is, like I say, it's only a good thing, really. So yeah, great.
Yeah, and the final bit of news, we talk about our Kofi sort of program that we've kicked off. I can't thank you, our listeners, enough for what you've done. You've blown my mind how much you've donated to us to help us sort of make ends meet with this podcast, and hopefully you'll keep continuing to donate and buy us coffees, and we'll be able to expand as a podcast, Paul. It's a very exciting times.
Yeah, you've still not bought me a coffee yet.
Not yet, but I only saw you briefly
Well, a joking.
on Sunday. You
Yeah.
were being the star at GMR, which I need to tell Trevor and Jack. They're going to cost them 30,000 coffees if they want to make it permanent.
We'll have to have one over Easter, won't we? We'll have to have a brew over Easter, mate.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll a bit of catch up over Easter.
Yeah. Well, I say big thanks to everyone who's donated so far, and it means the world to me. So big thanks to you. This week's podcast's been great. Thanks for coming on, Heather and Craig. It's been great talking to you. Really, really, insightful what you were talking about, and it kind of expanded what's going on. And it was, hopefully people who are listening will want to get involved, and it'll grow bigger and bigger. Craig.
Yeah, that's the hope. That's the vision. And like I say, anyone's interested, anyone's got any questions, anyone wants to volunteer or coach or anything like that, just get in touch with me, and I'll make it happen for you.
Yeah, good luck Sunday, Heather. We'll all be rooting for you and the team.
Thank you. And if anyone wants to come down, we're at Victoria Park from 12 till 3. It should be amazing day. It should be a lot of fun. So, come down and see us and see what's going on and what we're about. Yeah,
another great show, Paul, talking all things Salford.
Yeah, sorry I was a bit late, but yeah, great to see you guys, Craig and Ever, and keep up the good work and best wishes for the rest of this season and going forward in the future as well.
Brilliant. Big thanks to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil in the Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and YouTube. See you next week.